Good evening and welcome. This is the adult education space for Tempo Bethel Riverside, and it's really great to be with you. And this evening, we are going to talk and study and discuss about Lag BaOmer, that is our next holiday in the Jewish calendar. And we are going to talk about the legacy of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. We are going to discover who was Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. And for this, first of all, we are going to start and talk about Omer. Omer. Do you have an idea what is Sefirat Omer? We are talking that we count the Omer. What is the counting of the Omer? Do you have any idea about this? Yes, we are praying, and every evening during the prayer, the evening prayer, we add one more day in this counting of the Omer, and of course, you remember this year after year. But I wanted to know if you know what is exactly Sefirat HaOmer, the counting of the Omer. Do you have an idea? Let's start with a simple question. For what when you count in your life, okay? Why you count? Why we human used to count? What we count? For example, year after year, yes, we are counting, and okay, we are counting on, for example, birthday. Okay, why we are counting birthday? What it means to celebrate a birthday? What we
Tells
are
us how old we are.
sorry?
It tells us how old we are when we count our birthdays.
Yes, how old we are. We have an
And
idea. We have an idea of time. Yes.
I use numbers every day, all the time for things, counting things. So
Okay.
it permeates just about every aspect of my life, whether I go to the grocery store and making sure I'm within my budget. When I go to the gas pump, I'm trying not to look at the counting. Uh, so, the counting happens for me. It quantifies things for me every day.
Okay. It's something that, um, as you mentioned, Jason, it's something that appears every day, and this help to organize your financial schedule, and also help to organize how many time you can drive your car. Yes, you see, you go to the gas station and you see how many gallons you're putting in your car. Numbers help us to organize our lives. Yes, you have a budget, you have a number, you go to the supermarkets, and you know if you will be in minus, on red or not, if you will be in conditions to pay your credit card, if you are paying more than you receive. Okay, numbers are the entire time in our lives, from the time that we wake up, because the time it's a number. Yes, you know that you need to get up at 6, at 7. Yes, but it's a number. Okay, and also it's a number the time that you need to sleep. Yes, and it's a number, it's a time. The time it's a number when you are eating your lunch, your dinner, your coffee, and it's also a number when you need to visit your doctor every 3 months, every year, or when you need to take your car to the office, or when you need to renew your document, your passport. It's a number, it's a day. Then we can see that numbers are with us the entire time, and they are very important. What about the relationship between numbers or calendar with our tradition, with Judaism? Hi, Randy, welcome. And also welcome Jen and Eddie. Which is the relationship between numbers and Judaism? Let's say in that way, which is our relationship between the calendar and our tradition? Because calendar, what is calendar? It's number. It's number of days. How is
Well,
this?
the calendar number of days helps us organize when the holidays come.
Okay, perfect. And give me the first day that help us to organize our lives. Which is the most important day in the Jewish calendar? That
Shabbat.
Shabbat, exactly. Yes, Shabbat. We know that every 7 days, yes, we have something before and after. We have one day. Yes, we have one day to rest, and then we need to organize our activities, our life before and after. And we have the holidays that also invite us to organize our life. The holidays are a way to understand that we need to rest, that we need to commemorate, that we need to eat special food, that we need to do special prayers, that we need to organize our clothes, and we need to organize our homes, and we need to organize our celebration. But all depends of numbers, yes. And here, when we are talking about Sefirat Omer, we are counting the days. Why it's important to count the days? And this counting that we are doing is going from which day to or which period? Start when it's starting and when it's finished. This time that we call Sefirat HaOmer. Do you have an idea?
From Pesach to Shavuot.
Exactly. From the second day of Pesach till Shavuot, the celebration of the weeks. Okay, we need to remember that we started this counting in the second day of Pesach till Shavuot, and we count 7 times 7, 49. Okay, this is what we call Sefirat HaOmer, and when we finish Sefirat HaOmer, when we finish to count, we celebrate Shavuot. Then these numbers help us to know where we are walking. And for example, tonight it's the 29th day of the Omer. Okay, every evening, as I mentioned at the beginning, we add one more day in this way from Pesach to Shavuot. And this also helps us to organize. Let's start to share the screen, and let's start to understand better this Sefirat Omer, to understand what is Lag BaOmer, because Lag BaOmer means 33rd day in this process of the Omer. We are counting, and we have in the Hebrew alphabet, each letter represents a number. This is also important. Each letter represents a number in the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph 1, Bet 2, Gimel 3, Dalet 4, Hey 5, Vav 6, Zayin 7, Het 8, Tet 9, Yud 10. After 10, we start to count from 10 to 10. Okay, Yud it's 10, Half it's 20, and Yud Half Lamed it's 30, and then we are going, okay, 30, 40. When we arrive to 100, the last 4 letters of the Hebrew alphabet represent 100. Kuf, Reish, Shin, Taf. 100, 200, 300, 400. Okay, Lag BaOmer, it's the junction of two letters, Lamed, that it's 30, and Gimel, that it's 3. When we are talking about Lag BaOmer, it's another way to say the 33rd day in this counting of the Omer. Okay, let's go back and let's start. Let's share our screen. Let me go back. Okay, great. And where everything that we are doing, we need to find the origin at the Torah. Okay, all our celebrations, all our holidays, we can find in our Torah. This is the reason that we call biblical holidays, and we have modern holidays that we consider them post-biblical. For example, let's talk about the biblical celebration. Can you tell me which are the biblical celebration and the post-biblical celebrations? Let's start for the biblical celebrations. What it means, biblical celebration, that you find this holiday at the Torah.
Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah, very good. What else? Just one?
I didn't know if you wanted me to keep going. Sorry.
Let's go. Please.
Rosh Hashanah, Pesach, Shavuot, Yom Kippur, Hanukkah.
No.
Oh, no? Oh.
No. Hanukkah, it's not biblical. It's important that you mention, but it's
Okay.
Hanukkah is post-biblical. Yes.
Okay, I'll count myself out then. That's my streak ended.
Okay, let's start. The first one that appears at the Torah, Shabbat. Okay, Shabbat. We have 3 holidays that we recognize them in the Bible: Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. We have Rosh Hashanah, and we have Yom Kippur. Okay, and we have Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer, that it's we can consider Lag BaOmer like a in the status of the holiday. Perhaps it's a small holiday, but it's a holiday, and it's biblical. Okay, Hanukkah, Purim, Yom Ha'atzmaut, the Israel National Day, Yom Yerushalayim, the Day of Jerusalem, are all post-biblical celebrations. Okay? Then, when we are talking about Sefirat HaOmer, we need to open our books. We open our books on Leviticus, chapter 33, verse 15 and 16. וספרתם לכם ממחרת השבת, מיום אביאכם את עומר התנופה, 7 שבתות תמימות תהיינה, עד ממחרת השבת השביעית תספרו 50 יום, והקרבתם מנחה חדשה לאדוני. And from the day on which you bring the sheaf of elevation offering, the day after the Shabbat, you shall count off 7 weeks. They must be complete. You must count until the day after the 7th week, 50 days. Then you shall bring an offering of new grain to God. Okay, this is the Torah, the Mekora Torah, the biblical origin of this counting of the Omer. The counting of the Omer that we call Sefirat HaOmer. The counting of the Omer is a Jewish spiritual practice that takes place over 49 days, beginning of the second night of Passover, of Pesach, and ending with the holiday of Shavuot, which is the spiritual meaning of this counting. Originally, agriculture. Today, the Omer represents a journey of inner growth and spiritual preparation. On Passover, the Israelites are freed from slavery in Egypt, just physical liberation. On Shavuot, they receive the Torah at Mount Sinai, and that means spiritual purpose. These 49 days symbolize a process of refining our character and preparing ourselves to receive wisdom and responsibility. I would like to ask you, when you have something really important in your life, if you are not counting for it. For example, when you have a wedding, yes, are you counting or not counting? Counting down, yes. How many days we have till the wedding? If you have a bar mitzvah, if you have a bat mitzvah, if you have an important birthday. What is an important birthday? It's, I don't know, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, you know that it's an important time, an important number, and then you prepare yourself for that occasion. What it means to prepare yourself for that occasion? Sometimes you need to speak, to give a speech. Sometimes you need to buy a present. You need to buy a gift. You need to wear special clothes. You need, and then you start to count. Perhaps you need to enter in diet. Yes, you need to take care of your weight. There are many ways that we prepare ourselves. Perhaps you need to prepare spiritually for this moment. Okay, this is important, and we are going to prepare ourselves for this. We are going for this freedom. We are feeling ourselves freedom. For our body is free, but our mentality is still in Egypt. And then we are going to prepare ourselves to receive the Torah. We have another thing. If you remember the story, it was not so easy. And the people of Israel, instead to prepare themselves to receive the Torah, they did exactly the opposite. They built the golden calf. Do you remember the story? Okay, Moses went to Mount Sinai, and then instead to be ready for Moses, yes, they built the golden calf. These 49 days symbolize the process of refining our character and preparing ourselves to receive wisdom and responsibility, body and spirit. Okay, let's continue. A Kabbalistic perspective. According to Jewish mysticism, each of the 49 days correspond to a combination of 7 emotional attributes that we call in Hebrew sefirot, such as loving and kindness, chesed, discipline, gevurah, harmony, tiferet. Each day invites reflection and self-improvement in the specific area of life. How do we count? Every evening, a blessing is recited, followed by the counting of the day. For example, today is the 10th day of the Omer. As the weeks progress, today it's the 21st day, which is 3 weeks of the Omer. Let me quickly, okay, open here and the Omer counting you can find at the Sidur, okay, the different Sidurim, you have the blessing. It's very simple. Let me do this. Yes, we are together, and this is the evening. Let's count the Omer together. Hineni mukhan umzuman, hineni mukhan umzuman, hineni mukhan umzuman lekayem mitzvat aseh shel sfirat haomer, כמו שכתוב בתורה, הנני מוכן ומזומן, כמו שכתוב בתורה, הנני מוכן ומזומן, וספרתם לכם ממחרת השבת, הנני מוכן ומזומם, מיום אביכם, את עומר התנופה, הנני מוכן ומזומם. 7 שבתות תמימות תהיינה, עד ממחרת השבת השביעית תספרו 50 יום, והקרבתם מנחה חדשה לאדוני, וינועם אדוני אלוהינו עלינו, מעשה ידינו כוננה עלינו, מעשה ידינו כוננהו. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו עם מצוותיו וציוונו, על ספירת העומר. I will say the blessing and I ask you to repeat with me. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר. And then we are on the 29th day. היום 29 יום שהם 40 שבועות, 4 שבועות ויום אחד לעומר. Today it's the let me see here, י"ד. Today it's the 29th day or 4 weeks and 1 day in the counting of the Omer. This is the way that we are doing. And then custom of the period. The period also carries a tune of semi-mourning. Many avoid weddings and festive celebration in memory of a tragic event, the death of thousands of students of Rabbi Akiva. Okay, this is the reason that, and we need to understand that, for example, the Orthodox groups of the Jewish community don't allow to celebrate any weddings or any other happy occasion like a bar mitzvah. The conservative movement don't have the same position, and of course the Reform also not. For the Reform movement, it's allowed to celebrate during this period because they argue that we had so many sad times during our story that if we have an opportunity to celebrate, we need to celebrate. In the Orthodox or in the most traditional way to understand this period, the unique day during this period of 49 days that you can celebrate something, it's on the 33rd day in Lag BaOmer, the unique day, okay? You can celebrate a bar mitzvah, you can celebrate a wedding, you can celebrate something important. The other days, it's forbidden. There are some communities in the conservative world that they are counting till Lag BaOmer, and after Lag BaOmer, they celebrate. And as I mentioned, the Reform communities don't have any prohibition during this period. Then the question is, why is the Omer a period of mourning, historical tragedy, and spiritual responsibility? During the days of Sefirat HaOmer, the counting of the Omer between Pesach, Passover, and Shavuot, Jewish tradition adopts certain practice of semi-mourning. Weddings are limited, festive music is avoided, and the tune of the period becomes more introspective. Why? Because history and memory converge in these days. And let's see, and let's remember what was happening. First of all, the students of Rabbi Akiva. The primary source comes from the Talmud, Masechet Yevamot, page 62 bet, B, which teach 24,000 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva died during the period between Passover and Shavuot. It's not a small number. We are talking about 24,000. The tradition explained that this was not merely a physical plague, but a moral failure. They did not treat one another with respect. This transformed the Omer into more than a historical memory. It becomes a mirror, a reminder that Torah knowledge without ethical behavior cannot sustain a community. Okay, this is what we call in Hebrew sinat chinam. Yes, the people hate the other without any reason. Sinat chinam. Okay, free, like the translation, it's like a free hate. Okay, we need to change the free hate for free love. Okay, we need to love more than we hate. Okay, first reason that it's a mourning period. Second reason, the tragedy of Bar Kokhba. Bar Kokhba, in the 2nd century, Rabbi Akiva himself supported the revolt led by Bar Kokhba against the Roman Empire. The result was catastrophic: massive loss of life, destruction of Jewish centers in the land of Israel, a deep rupture in Jewish national hope. Many traditions connect these events with the same season of the Omer, reinforcing its association with collective loss and shattered expectations. Okay, first, the tragedy of the students of Rabbi Akiva. Second, the tragedy of Bar Kokhba. Third, the massacres of the first crusade. You said the pronunciation is right. If not, let me know. Crusade, how you say this? In Spanish, we say cruzadas. How you say in English?
Crusade is correct, yeah.
Crusade, okay. Thank you. Centuries later, during the First Crusade, Jewish communities in the Rhineland, Speyer, Worms, and Mainz were devastated. Thousands of Jews were killed, entire communities were erased. These events occurring during the weeks of the Omer. The pain of these massacres became embedded in Jewish liturgy memory, adding another layer of mourning to this time. And many of these places, yes, we are talking about Europe, we are talking about Germany, and it was during the First Crusade. A break in the darkness. There is a break in this period that we consider darkness. In the midst of mourning, there is a moment of light. Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the Omer, is celebrated with joy. Tradition teaches that the plague among Rabbi Akiva's students ceased on this day. It's also associated with the passing of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, a figure of deep mystical illumination. Bonfires are lit, celebration return, and hope reemerges. And perhaps it sounds like a contradiction, how it can be that the day of the passing of one of the most important rabbis, like Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, we celebrate what we have to celebrate. And it was Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai petition. He asked their students, the day that I pass away, please remember me with joy. You can choose, you can remember someone who passed away crying, being sad, with depression, or in this case, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, he asked their students, and this is the reason of the break. Yes, it was a darkness period, but something good happened. Nobody died. No one of the Rabbi Akiva, nobody of these 24,000 students died that day. It was enough to say we can see a light in this day. Okay. And then I would like to share with you a short movie, and this is fantastic. Believe me, that it's the first time that I share this kind of movie in my classes, because it's a movie about our ancient time, produced by artificial intelligence. It's something unique. Okay, we are going to discover the story of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai in a unique way. Okay, let me just open here.
I'm about to reveal a snoring fix that most women over 40 don't know. This is what your throat looks like when you're snoring.
Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai was one of the greatest sages in history and among the greatest Tanaim, who lived about 1900 years ago in the land of Israel. Rabbi Shimon was born in the land of Israel then, under the rule of the Roman Empire, after the destruction of the Second Temple. Many laws and stories are cited in his name in the Mishnah and other sources. Various works are attributed to him, such as Midrash Halacha Sifri, the Mechilta de Rashbi, and the Zohar. His father, Yochai, was an important man who was close to the authorities. Some say that Rabbi Shimon had a younger brother named Rabbi Yaakov ben Yochai, who was also a sage mentioned in the Midrash. There is a story about a student in the yeshiva of Rabban Gamliel in Yavne, the head of the Sanhedrin. This student asked Rabbi Yehoshua ben Hananiah and Rabban Gamliel about the importance of the evening prayer and whether it is considered optional or obligatory. The question sparked a great controversy among the sages, and as a result, Rabban Gamliel was temporarily removed from his position as president, and he was replaced by Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. The Talmud relates that the student who asked the question in the study hall was Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, who was still young at the time. Rabbi Shimon married the daughter of Rabbi Yossi ben Lekunya. Rabbi Shimon had a son and a daughter. Rabbi Elazar, son of Rabbi Shimon and his daughter, married Rabbi Pinhas ben Yair. The Midrash recounts that after his marriage, Rabbi Shimon, together with his friend Rabbi Hananiah ben Hahinai, went to study Torah with Rabbi Akiva ben Yosef in Bnei Brak. There he studied for 13 years, during which time he sent letters home to make sure everything was all right. Rabbi Shimon was considered the foremost disciple of Rabbi Akiva. After this period, a rebellion broke out in the land of Israel against the Roman rule, which had imposed harsh decrees on the Jews. This rebellion became known as the Bar Kokhba Revolt. It was led by Shimon ben Kosba with the support of Rabbi Akiva. In the end, the revolt failed and hundreds of thousands of Jews were killed. Among them were great sages who perished, and some of them became known as the 10 Martyrs. Among them was Rabbi Akiva, whose flesh was combed with iron combs. Rabbi Akiva had many students, but almost all of them died in a plague during the short period between Passover and Shavuot. At that time, the world was desolate of Torah. Rabbi Akiva went to the south and ordained a small number of students who upheld the Torah. Among them was Rabbi Shimon. At a certain point, Rabbi Akiva was captured by the Romans and imprisoned in the prison in Caesarea. During those days, Rabbi Shimon went to his teacher, Rabbi Akiva, and pleaded with him to teach him Torah. After Rabbi Akiva was executed, Rabbi Shimon and several of his companions were ordained in secret, also by Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, despite the great danger, since the decree was that anyone who ordained or was ordained would be sentenced to death. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava ordained Rabbi Shimon and his companions between two great mountains, between Usha and Shvarim. In the end, Rabbi Yehuda took the risk upon himself for the sake of the Torah. Rabbi Shimon and his companions were saved and ensured the continuity of the Torah for future generations. But Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava was killed with great cruelty by the Romans, and he is counted among the 10 martyrs. Rabbi Shimon was among those who strongly opposed the rule of the Romans in the land of Israel. In the Talmud, it is told that once 3 of the great sages were sitting together, Rabbi Yehuda, son of Rabbi Eli, Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Halafta, and Rabbi Shimon, son of Yochai. Present with them was Rabbi Shimon's student. His name was Rabbi Yehuda ben Gerim. The sages discussed the actions of the Romans and the development of the land by them. Rabbi Yehuda praised some of their deeds. Rabbi Yossi remained silent and did not respond, while Rabbi Shimon spoke out forcefully and said that everything the Romans did, they did only for their own benefit. Rabbi Yehuda ben Gerim heard these words and went to tell his relatives. Eventually, the matter reached the authorities, and they issued a decree against Rabbi Shimon. From that point on, Rabbi Shimon's life changed completely. After the authorities learned about the things Rabbi Shimon had said, he and his son were forced to hide. Rabbi Shimon hid with his son, Rabbi Elazar, at first in the study hall, and his wife would bring them water and food. And when the decree became more severe, Rabbi Shimon feared that the Romans might capture his wife, torture her, and force her to reveal where they were hiding. Therefore, they fled to a cave and hid there for 12 years. Some say this was in the area of Lod, while others say it was in the area of Pikion, or the Kinneret. Miracles were shown to them in the cave. A carob tree was created for them, and some say also date palms from which they ate, and a spring of water from which they drank. Throughout those 12 years, they studied Torah with their entire bodies covered in sand up to their necks, and only during prayer would they come out, put on their clothes, and pray. Eliyahu the prophet would come to them twice a day and teach them Torah. No one knew where they were. One day, the sages in the study hall were discussing a question, and they could not explain it. Rabbi Yehuda, son of Eli, Rabbi Shimon's friend, stood up and said, "It's a pity that Bar Yochai is not here with us, and no one knows where he is. And even if someone does know, he is forbidden to reveal it." In the morning, Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Yehuda, saw birds flying, and among them was a single dove. He stood up and said, "Dove, faithful dove, since the time of the flood you have symbolized the holy people. Go and carry out a mission for me to Bar Yochai, wherever he may be." The dove turned around and stood before him. Rabbi Yossi wrote a note and handed it to her. The dove took the note in her beak and went to Rabbi Shimon. She placed the note under her wing. Rabbi Shimon saw the note, wept together with his son Rabbi Elazar, and said, "I weep for the separation from my friends, and I weep for these matters that will not be revealed to them. What will the future generations do?"
Let's open this beautiful box from Lev Ha'olam, from Psalms. Praise.
After 12 years, during which Rabbi Shimon and his son Rabbi Elazar stayed in hiding, Eliyahu the prophet appeared at the entrance of the cave and said, "Who will inform Bar Yochai that the emperor has died and his decree is annulled?" Rabbi Shimon and his son Rabbi Elazar heard this and left the cave. When Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai saw people neglecting Torah study and engaging in plowing and sowing, he looked at them intensely, and they were burned. A heavenly voice came forth and said, "Did you come out to destroy my world? Return to the cave." So Rabbi Shimon and his son Elazar returned to the cave for another 12 months. At that time, Rabbi Pinhas ben Yair, his son-in-law, and some say the father-in-law of Rabbi Shimon, was sitting with Rabbi Rehumahi on the shore of the Kinneret. Rabbi Rehumahi was a very old man and could not see because of his advanced age. Rabbi Rehumahi sent Rabbi Pinhas and said to him, "Go, my son, go and follow Rabbi Shimon, for now is the right time." Rabbi Pinhas left Rabbi Rehumahi and prepared to board a boat on the Kinneret. He and 2 men were with him. Suddenly he saw 2 birds flying over the sea. He called out to them, "Birds, birds, you who fly over the sea, have you seen the place where Rabbi Shimon is?" Then he called again, "Birds, birds, go and bring me an answer." Meanwhile, Rabbi Shimon went out and sat on the steps at the entrance of the cave and saw a hunter catching birds. Suddenly, Rabbi Shimon heard a heavenly voice from above calling out, "Demos, Demos," meaning release, release. And immediately the bird was saved. And when he heard the heavenly voice say, "Spakula, spakula," meaning capture, capture, the bird was caught. Rabbi Shimon said, "If a bird is not caught without a decree from heaven, how much more so is this true for a human soul?" Rabbi Shimon returned to the cave and said to his son, "The judgment of the wicked in heaven lasts 12 months. A heavenly voice came forth and said to Rabbi Shimon and his son, "Leave your cave." They came out, but this time wherever Rabbi Elazar would strike, Rabbi Shimon would heal. Rabbi Shimon said to his son, "My son, the world is sufficient for me and you. Not all are on our level." At that time, Rabbi Pinhas was waiting in a boat at sea, and the birds were flying over. Rabbi Pinhas waited. The birds returned, and in the beak of one of them was a small note. On the note it was written, "Rabbi Shimon and his son Rabbi Elazar have left the cave where they were hiding. Upon leaving the cave, they saw a man bringing 2 myrtle branches in honor of Shabbat, one resembling remember the Shabbat, and one resembling observe the Shabbat. In this way, they saw how beloved the commandments are to the Jewish people, so they were at ease." Rabbi Shimon from before and after the cave is not the same Rabbi Shimon, but rather the greatest of the holy sages. From here on, the Torah began to spread enormously. When Rabbi Shimon left the cave, he headed toward Tiberias together with his son Elazar. When they arrived in Tiberias, Rabbi Pinhas ben Yair, his son-in-law, came out to greet them. Rabbi Pinhas saw that Rabbi Shimon's body was full of cracks and wounds. Rabbi Pinhas began to weep, and his tears fell on Rabbi Shimon's wounds, causing him pain. Rabbi Pinhas said to him, "Woe is me that I have seen you in such a state." Rabbi Shimon replied to him, "Fortunate are you to have seen me like this, for if not for this, you would not have found so much Torah within me." At first, Rabbi Shimon would pose a question, and Rabbi Pinhas would provide him with 12 answers. But now Rabbi Pinhas poses a question, and Rabbi Shimon provides him with 24 answers. Immediately, he brought him into the bathhouse and tended to him with care. After all this, Rabbi Shimon said, "Since a miracle has been performed for me, I will go and rectify something." Rabbi Shimon went and purified and permitted certain places in Tiberias that were under suspicion of impurity because of the dead who had been buried in the area. Afterwards, he also passed through Migdal, Tisbiah, and the Beit Netopha Valley in the lower Galilee. One day, Rabbi Shimon went out to the marketplace and saw his student, Rabbi Yehuda ben Gerim, who had gone and told his words to his relatives. As a result, the matter reached the Roman authorities, and Rabbi Shimon was forced to go into hiding. Rabbi Shimon looked at him and said, "Is this one still in the world?" Rabbi Shimon looked at him, and he passed away. Rabbi Shimon established a yeshiva in Tekoa and taught in many places throughout the land of Israel. Among his prominent students were his grandson, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, the compiler of the Mishnah, and Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda of Kfar Akko. It is told about one of Rabbi Shimon's students that he went abroad and returned with great wealth. His fellow students saw him and became envious, and they asked Rabbi Shimon for permission to leave the land of Israel. Rabbi Shimon took them out to a certain valley in Meron and said, "Valley, valley, fill yourself with gold coins." Immediately the valley began to fill with gold coins. He said to them, "If it is gold you seek, here is gold. Take it for yourselves." No one took any, because they feared that anyone who took the gold would do so at the expense of their share in the world to come. When the time came for Rabbi Shimon to depart from this world, his students gathered at his home. Rabbi Shimon said to them, "Now is a time of favor, and I can reveal to you secrets and mysteries that I have not disclosed to you until today." He began to reveal sacred secrets until he reached the verse, "For there the Lord commanded the blessing, life forever." When he reached the word life, his soul ascended to the heavens.
Whoever invented this deserves a raise. I don't know why it took until 2026 for people to realize how useful.
At that moment, the room was filled with a great and powerful light, so intense that his students could not look at it. Rabbi Abba said, "That entire day I fell to the ground and wept loudly. After the fire subsided, I saw Rabbi Shimon, righteous and holy, wrapped in a tallit and lying on his right side, his face smiling. Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, stood up, took his father's hands and kissed them. And Rabbi Abba kissed the earth beneath his feet. Rabbi Hia said, "Until now the holy luminary watched over us. Now the time has come to attend to his honor." They placed Rabbi Shimon's body on a bed, and Rabbi Abba and his son Rabbi Elazar cared for him. When they brought out the bed, it rose into the air, and fire burned before it, and a voice was heard, "Come and gather for the celebration of Rabbi Shimon." At that moment, there was immense joy in the upper worlds. When the bed was brought into the burial cave in Meron, a voice was heard from within the cave. "This is the man who shakes the earth and stirs up kingdoms. How many accusers in the heavens are calm today thanks to you?" This is Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, whom God praises every day. Blessed is his portion above and below. Many years later, Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, fell ill and passed away. Rabbi Elazar lay in the cave in the attic in Gush Halav for no less than 18 and no more than 24 years. When two people would come for judgment, they would stand at the entrance. One would state his case, and the other would state his case. And then a voice would come out. "So-and-so, you are liable. So-and-so, you are acquitted." One day, Rabbi Elazar's wife was quarreling with her neighbor. The neighbor said to her, "May you be like your husband who was not given burial." Then the sages said, "All of this was certainly not proper behavior." At that time, Rabbi Shimon appeared to the people of Meron in a dream and asked that they bring his son to be buried beside him. And so, Rabbi Elazar was buried in his father's cave. Every year, tens of thousands would make a pilgrimage to the tomb of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai to prostrate themselves at his grave and pray for both communal and personal salvation. Rabbi Shimon is worthy of relying upon in times of distress.
Okay. This is the really very interesting way to introduce us the story or the bio of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. The most important thing, it's yes, the story. The story is the original story, but for the first time that I see this story with artificial intelligence and give us the opportunity to understand better how was that time and how they dress and how they talk and what was happening. But let's try to rescue the story. It's a fascinating story. In some way, we have something that are really sad, and there are something that we can see that they were human. And let's try to explain the reaction. First of all, they spent 13 years inside the cave. Try to imagine yourself inside the cave during this period. In the darkness, without food. We can explain like a miracle that they had food, or some people at the beginning knows where they were hiding, but it was not simple. But the message is that they spent a lot of years in the darkness. What was happening inside this cave? Okay, if you watch the movie, what was happening inside the cave? What they did? Yes?
They studied a lot of Torah.
They studied. They had enough time, yes. They had 30 years to study Torah. And it means like also Eliyahu Nabi, Eliyahu the prophet, Elijah the prophet came to teach them Torah. It means that they spent the entire time studying Torah. How was their reaction, especially Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai reaction when they went out of the cavern? They went out happy with the things that they saw. How was the first reaction? They say, "Well, great! Look the people here. They are working the earth, the land." They were happy to see this or not?
I believe he had an intense gaze and it burned somebody, didn't it? Or destroyed somebody.
They were furious, yes, because they considered that it was a waste of time to work the land and to be in touch with everything that was material for them. In their mind, was the most important thing was to study Torah, and it's important the symbolism that we can find in the cavern, that it's a dark place, and the study of the Torah represents exactly the opposite. The study of Torah represents light. What happens when we are sitting around the table in a group studying Torah? Yes, when we study, when we learn, when we listen from the others about their thoughts, about what we can learn from the Torah, when you have a nice group around you and you listen nice ideas, nice interpretations, or you read a text and you discover new things that you didn't saw before, it's like the light it's coming. But the light it's coming not just in the room, the light it's coming inside your mind. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his son, they were punished because they didn't accept the material world. They considered that it was a waste of time. And then God said, you need to return to the cavern. And they return. They prefer to return than to be outside. But what happened when they came outside the second time? What was happened the second time? Did they change their behavior? The situation outside changed or not? Or it was the same situation and they were different?
They were happier.
They
ran into somebody with myrtle that was representing Shabbat.
Exactly. And it was a change of behavior, and they started to agree and accept for they who were working the land and celebrating Shabbat, they saw in these simple things also light. They saw in that things also Judaism, tradition, and Torah. And they were different because they accept. The first time they didn't accept, the second time they said that it's compatible to work the land and to be in touch with the material world, but also to study Torah. Let's return to our PowerPoint. Let me just close here. And let's study in this, wait a minute. Okay, where are you? Just a minute. let's try to understand this last part of our meeting. We are trying to discover exactly, yes, what it means, the legacy of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. We studied about BaOmer in the first part of our meeting. We studied more about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai life, and now let's try to understand better the legacy. Let me see if it's here. Yes. Okay. Then the legacy of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. If you listen, someone who called him Rashbi, it's another way to recognize it. Rashbi are just the first letters. Reish, R, S, B, Y. Yes, Rashbi. It was very common, and it was very common, and still it's common to call the big rabbis by their first letters. And I have one of my professor, teachers, and rabbis, Rabbi Abraham Skorka, R-A-S, that he knows like Ras. Okay, every knows his no like Ras, but the first letter of his name. One of the most influential and layered in Jewish tradition, spanning Torah, scholarship, resistance, and mysticism. His impact is felt especially during Lag BaOmer, the day associated with his passing. He was founder of the Jewish mystical conscientiousness. And this is very important because sometimes we are talking about the mystical side of Judaism, and the mystical side of Judaism starts with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, exactly in this cave, studying Torah and trying to find the light of the Torah. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is traditionally credited with the teachings of the Zohar, the foundational work of Kabbalah. Not everybody agree with this, but most of people most of scholars believe that he wrote the Zohar. He taught that beneath the surface of the Torah is a hidden spiritual dimension. His approach shifted Judaism from only law and narrative into inner meaning and divine experience. About his legacy, Judaism, it's not only something to do, but something to experience deeply. My friends, sometimes during our TNT, Torah and Tefillah, I coming back with the question: what is more important, to study Torah or to keep mitzvot? What is most important? And the conclusion is to study Torah, because if we study Torah, we can understand what are the commandments that we need to keep. Okay, both are important. In fact, both are important, but if we don't study, we don't know what to do. Okay, and then this is part of the legacy. It's not just what to do, but something to experience deeply. The legacy of Rashbi. Torah as light in darkness. According to tradition, he spent 13 years hiding in a cave with his son, Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, escaping Roman persecution. There, he immersed himself completely in Torah and prayer. This period symbolized the idea that spiritual light can emerge for darkness. Davka mitoch choshech, exactly from darkness. And his legacy, even in exile or crisis, one can generate profound spiritual illumination. What was happening, and here we are talking about exile. Can you give me an example of light in the exile, of Jewish light in the exile? What was happened, for example, in Babylon? What was
So they
happening?
wrote a Talmud.
Exactly. Okay, they were in the darkness of the exile, but they produced and they wrote the Talmud, Talmud Babel, the Talmud for Babylon. Okay, another thing that they create in Babylon, they create many rabbinical academies, and they created one of the most important institutions in Jewish life. They created in Babylon the synagogue. Okay, it was the period of exile, but in this case, okay, they produce light through the Talmud, light through the different academies, light through the synagogue. And of course, many rabbis came later on to the land of Israel from the different academies in Babylon, and also many of these sages spread around Europe. Not all of them returned to Israel. Most of them returned, but some of them also went to other places. Okay, and this is really very important to consider. Not every time when you are in the darkness, it means that you are not producing. Opposite. And for example, it's sad to say, but in South America, during the dictatorship period, many of the greater musicians or artists went to the exile, and they produced magnificent music, and they wrote books, and they produced things that they gave light to the people. Okay, in South America, it's an example of exile. Okay, let's continue. The legacy of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, a voice of truth and courage. Rabbi Shimon was known for his bold criticism of Roman oppression, which forced him into hiding. He represents uncompromising commitment to truth and justice. At the same time, later stories show his growth, learning to balance judgment with compassion. His legacy, spiritual greatness, requires both conviction and refinement of character. Other part of his legacy, transformation and inner refinement. One famous Talmudic story describes how, after leaving the cave, his intense spirituality initially caused him to reject ordinary life. A divine voice sent him back to the cave to grow further. When he emerged again, he had learned to integrate heaven and earth. And his legacy, through holiness, it's not escape from the world, but transforming the world. This is really very, very nice. Sometimes there are people who are very intellectual, and they consider that simple things are not important. We need to create a balance, okay, between the two worlds, and we need to respect each other, and we need to have the capacity to learn from each one, not just from the doctors or from the people who have many degrees Yes, we need to learn and study for the simple people. We need to learn from the nature. We need to learn from the animals. We need to learn from everyone. Okay. The legacy of Rashbi, the joy of Lag BaOmer. This is something you need. His Yurtzeit, day of passing, on Lag BaOmer is celebrated with bonfires, symbolizing spiritual light, joy and gatherings, pilgrimage to his tomb in Meron. Meron, it's a mountain in the Galil, in the north of Israel. Unlike other tzaddikim, his passing is marked with celebration, not mourning, emphasizing the enduring light of his teachings. And this is really very nice. It's the day that we remember that he passed away, but in fact, it's a party, and everybody is going to celebrate, and everybody is going. It's the typical picnic day in Israel. Everybody is going. There is not. It's not a day of school. The students are free, and they are going to the different squares, and they are playing. They are in contact with nature, but it's a day of joy. It's a day of joy in the middle of this darkness period of Sefirat HaOmer. And sometimes you can stuck in your car trying to go to the Ar Meiron, that it's very nice. Nowadays, I visited Ar Meiron, the mountain of Meiron, and nowadays they built a synagogue around the tomb. And I can tell you that the 24 hours, there are students or rabbis praying there because they believe that to pray near Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, this will give them light, and they will be blessed by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rashbi. It's a very nice place to visit. If you go to Israel, at the Galil, it's near the city of Tzfat. It's near yes, let me see, the Galil. It's at the Galil, but it's near Tiberiades. Okay, Tveria, very nice city. Okay, then Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai teach us that Torah has deep behind the surface. It's like an iceberg, okay? You can see one part, but you don't see everything. Darkness can become a place of light, and spiritual life must ultimately elevate the world and not abandon it. Okay, this is part of his legacy. Darkness, as we say in Hebrew, it's makom shel or, a place of light. But you need to discover the light. Okay, it's not that the light is going to come automatically. You need to discover the light. And one of the ways that he teach us was exactly, yes, you need to study, and through your knowledge, you are going to discover and you are going to see the light. And now, in our last minutes, I would like to share with you one of his stories, one of the things that he used to teach. And we are going with this, the hidden light, or Aganus. We are going to study together Zohar, okay? Which is the topic, the theme. The world was created with a divine light so powerful that it could not remain in its original form, and was therefore hidden for the righteous. Okay? We need to understand that the world was created with a lot of light, with an intensive light. What happened when you are in front of an intensive light? Which is your first reaction when you are in front of an intensive light? Which is your reaction?
Close your eyes.
You close your eyes. Yes, you put your hand in front of your eyes. It's impossible to see. It's too much light. Yes, it's impossible. You need to protect yourself. It's too much. The intensity, it's terrible. And this was what happened in the time of the creation through the things that Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai teach. Core idea from the Zohar, Parashat, and this is coming from Breshit, from Genesis. The Zohar teaches that when God created the world, he generated a primordial light. This light was so intense that it could illuminate all existence instantly. But it was too powerful for a broken world, so it was hidden away for the future. And where it is hidden? It is hidden for the tzaddikim, the righteous, who will experience it in the future world, and also for those who reveal it through Torah and spiritual refinement of this world. In other words, this light exists, okay? But we are going, if we deserve, and if we are tzaddikim, we are righteous people, we are going to discover this light in the world to come, not in this world. But for this, we need to prepare ourselves to be ready for this moment. We can have, let's say in that way, we can have some demonstrations of that light. For example, Shabbat, it's a way to see that light. It's a day different than the others with more light, okay? And the Olam Haba, the world to come, it will be the place to find this light, the light of the creation. But Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai reveals that reality is not what it appears to be. The world looks dark, fragmented, and confusing. Yes, it's exactly what happened nowadays. We are in front of the world and we are looking and we are watching news and we see the darkness, the fragmented and confusing world. But enough, it is a hidden divine light waiting to be uncovered. The Zohar is teaching that darkness is not the absence of God, it is the concealment of a deeper light. Spiritual message. This passage carries three powerful ideas. First, reality has depth. What we see is only the surface. There is always a hidden layer of meaning. Second, human beings can reveal light through Torah, mitzvot, commandments, and ethical living. We participate in uncovering that hidden light. And third, history itself is not random. Even exile and suffering are part of the process where light is concealed, not destroyed. Remember also that many branches of Judaism believe that before the Messiah, before coming the Messiah, it will be a darkness period of the history. with a lot of misunderstandings and wars and conflicts and this and that, but in the end will be light. Okay. Connection to Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. Tradition associates this teaching with him because he is considered the spiritual revealer of hidden dimensions of Torah. Remember that he reveals the Torah when he was close to his death. He started to talk things that he by himself knows and not other ones. He started to talk everything that he studied in the cave, and he start to reveal. When you are studying with a big teacher, with a big rabbi, with a big professor, with a big doctor, they spread light, and you can understand better things that you didn't see before. And this is what he did before he passed away. His life in the cave symbolized hidden light emerging from darkness. And like BaOmer, our next celebration, celebrate this revelation of inner illumination. The Zohar teaches that the greatest light, it's not the one we see openly, but the one we learn to uncover within darkness. And here we have the text of what we call Oraganus. We have the details, are just 5 verses. And this is the conclusion. The world begins with light and not darkness. That light is hidden, not lost. Torah study and spiritual life are how we access the hidden radiance. And I would like to listen from you, my friends. I would like to listen about your thoughts about the mystical side of Judaism. Do you believe in mystical or not? In the mystical side of Judaism?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Rabbi, I couple of things. Oh, well, first, your English is excellent and very well spoken. When the rabbi and his son went the first time, did they, I need clarification on, did they consider that a blessing or otherwise? Was that changed in any way for the second time? Did they consider it a punishment or a blessing? First and second time.
It's an important question, Adrian. Thank you very much for asking. I will give you my point of view. I'm thinking that after so many years inside the cave, it was for them so difficult to be in the material world because they spent just the entire time studying, and they thought that perhaps any other activity was a waste of time. They didn't find nothing holy. They didn't find the holiness in the domestic activities. And they were so furious because they thought, okay, we spend this time studying and trying to discover the light. And look, these people are working the land and the earth. Show me what relevant is it this activity. And they didn't find nothing relevant. Sometimes when you are separate in some place and you are coming back to your place, you are feeling different. I don't know in which city did you born, Adrienne?
London.
London, okay. How is London, or how you saw London the last time that you visited the city?
I have a very different experience about what you're discussing. I lived in Alamogordo, New Mexico, for 3 years in silence, very, very still. And after 3 years, I went to buy something at a department store in New Jersey, and I stood there and I started crying. I couldn't bear the noise. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what direction to take. It was completely overwhelming. And I was asked to give a sermon at temple once, and I based it on the silence.
And you was upset. Yes, it was your place, but you didn't recognize your place.
No, it was terrible, horrible.
Okay, try to imagine now. I asking this because you have an example. Try to imagine they spent 13 years in the cave, and when they went out, of course that it will be completely different. Okay, and they were in the silence of the cave, and they were just dedicating their time to study and to try to discover this light. And I imagine deep conversations and discussions about philosophy, the philosophy of the Torah, and this and that. Yes, and then they start to see people, yes, with their cows and their horses, and buying food, and they couldn't understand. Then I'm thinking that they couldn't agree with this kind of life, and they prefer to return to the cave because they are feeling the cave like a safe place. What happened with the babies? Yes, each one of us are spending 9 months or 7 months inside our mothers. Yes, it's a comfortable place. It's like a cave. And then in a sudden, we need to go and discover the world. And we are not anymore so comfortable than before. Okay.
You don't think it was a bit selfish going back?
Yes, also. Perhaps it's the Edipo, okay? The Edipo with the cave, the Edipo with the mother. I don't know if you say Edipo, Edip. This relationship that you have with your mother, okay? Maybe yes, could be a selfish attitude, or they are considered themselves superior than the others because they could see things that the others couldn't see, and perhaps they had a high level of discussion, and the other people were talking about material things. Yes, how much is I don't know, the milk, or not how much, but material things. Yes, I need to give this instead to have this, and they try perhaps to go back. It was the safe place of high level discussions. What happened with the intellectual people when they are going out of the universities? Can they have the same level of discussion outside universities or outside the classrooms? It's difficult. Yes, when you are with a group of intellectuals, you can speak the same language. But outside, what you are going to try to imagine a philosopher, someone who is going out from the university, from the classroom, and he stop in the gas station and he start to listen hip hop music. Okay. My God. Okay, what is this? Yes, and this is the real world. Okay,
Yeah.
I can't say that who is listening hip hop it's a bad person, but it's a material world. And if you compare with other songs, yes, perhaps in this kind of song you have 1 or 2 words that don't teach you nothing. Okay, but let's say that the cave is a symbolic place, and sometimes we need to go to the cave.
Right.
Sometimes we need to, when we are studying Torah during the Shabbat morning, it's like our cave. Okay, we are returning and we are sitting and we are open the books and we are reading and we are enjoying and we are trying to discover the light in the darkness, what it's mean, that word, or what Moses tried to say, or what the God tried to say or to teach to Moses. And then in a sudden, oh, yes, we discover things that we didn't realize before.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Other considerations?
Well, I have another one.
Please, go ahead.
The soul. It seems like the soul leaves the body. And so are they referring to an afterlife of some sort?
We believe in Judaism in the eternity of the soul. The soul is eternal. And perhaps some souls are giving us, and they lighten our path, our way. I would like to say something really, and I would like to dedicate this class to the holy memory of Yara Litvak Rodges, Zichrona Livracha, and her soul will be with us forever. She is the daughter of a friend of mine, Cantor Ari Litvak from Temple Bethel, Mexico, and she passed away yesterday at the age of 21 years old.
Oh.
And it's really a tragedy. And to make sense this time that we are together, I would like to dedicate this class to elevate her soul. We are talking about soul. I really appreciate, because it's a way to elevate her soul, and I hope there are some souls that are very special and they can illuminate us from other places.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other thoughts? Did you know about this rabbi? It was, and we didn't talk a lot about Rabbi Akiva, but his life was really a tragedy. He was killed, and also we didn't speak a lot about the illness of because the 24,000 students died, but they were healed. It was not that they died. Okay, it was really very hard. We are talking about COVID. Yes, something that a illness that spread. Okay, 24,000 people who died. It was like a pandemic. Okay, it was a big illness in that day without vaccine. Okay, try to imagine that we, with vaccines, had millions of people who died around the world. Try to imagine in that time without any medicine, without vaccine. Yes, and this is the reason that we celebrate. We celebrate like BaOmer because nobody died on the 33rd day of this period. And another thing that it's important to remind, that in that time it was forbidden to study Torah. And also the cave, it's a symbolic place of protection, because the students of Rabbi Akiva, they went to the caves to study Torah. And it's not a comfortable place, a cave. You can be in a cave for a couple of minutes, but after this couple of minutes, it's not comfortable. I had an experience in Israel. We went to one cave and we entered to the cave, and it was very difficult to enter to the cave, and you don't have enough air, oxygen inside the cave. And I remember that I was the last one to go out from the cave. I said, try to imagine if someone pushed my legs. Yes, I don't go in out. But it's a place, really, the cave, what we have, there are many caves in Israel in different places. In the cave, there is something that it's fantastic that I remember. You can listen the others because you have echo inside the cave. You can be in the other extreme and you can speak, yes, very, very, very slow and not loud, and everybody can hear you. If you have the experience to enter in a cave and speak, you will listen your echo, and it's a fantastic place. We had a very nice experience. Every one of us enter with a candle, okay, to the cave. And then when everybody enters to the main part of the cave, it was a big light. But what happens if you have each one of the person who entered to the cave have a light? You don't have oxygen, okay? Then just 1 or 2 or 3 candles still light, and then the other one, and everything became dark in the cave, and we started, yes, the madrich, the more, the professor start to talk and teach us Torah and this, and it's like this experience to be in the darkness and to receive light and to listen, and you are very quiet. If you are in the middle of a place with noise, without concentration, then the phone rings and someone enters, and you don't have your mind, you don't have your head in the right place to study. These people dedicate part of their lives to study, and they found, and it was not just the knowledge, many things were revealed to them. But you mentioned, Adrian, something important. You said if you ask if Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai was selfish or not. Do you remember what he did in the last days of his life? He reveals to the others what he was studying and what he was discovered inside the cave. Because there are many people who knows a lot of things. They have a strong knowledge, but they don't share this knowledge. They are taking with them this knowledge, and when they pass away, they are taking their knowledge. They don't share.
Right.
They don't prepare another one to continue to teach. Okay, and this, it's an important message. Perhaps Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai had a very difficult life. It was not very comfortable to be inside this cave. Perhaps he was very furious for his experience. In another side, he was considered himself a great rabbi, or perhaps the most important rabbi in his generation, but at the end, he shared his knowledge. And also, this is a very important message. Okay. My friends, thank you very, very much for your time, for being here. I saw, Susan, you're a little tired today, yes? Okay. But I hope that through the Torah study, all of us will have the opportunity to discover this light. This is why we need to study Torah, because it's the other side of the material world. We need to be in the material world. We need to go to the supermarket. We need to go to the gas station. We need to go to the freeway. This is the material world. Try to imagine if Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, yes, see nowadays one of our freeways in California that we are stuck. Yes, he would like to return from 20 years to the cave. Yes, try to imagine the time that we waste inside our cars. Yes, without any production, we turn on the radio, or perhaps we talk in the cell phone, but we are not studying the time that we are on the driving. Okay, there are ways, but it's important perhaps to go through the freeway to arrive to the temple and to enjoy a nice service and to enjoy the Torah study. Thank you very much. Let me.
Thank you, Rabbi.
See
you tomorrow night.
Thank you. Let me share with you an important invitation. We are working with Randy, with Ryan, with Avi, and with Haley for the Pride Shabbat that we are going to celebrate on June 19th. Yes? If any one of you would like to join us in this Shabbat, in the organization, it's very welcome. And also, I would like to invite you to come and to attend the Bagel and Lots brunch that we are going to have this Sunday, okay, at 9 a.m. here. It's a way to be together and to celebrate life, okay? And if you are in town tomorrow at 7, you are welcome to celebrate Shabbat with us. Okay, let's discover together the light of Shabbat. This is the reason that I invite you. If you are not coming, it's so important to light the Shabbat candles. Light. Okay, this is the message of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Allah BaOmer Sameach. Bye-bye.